So I'm gonna wait everyone to join so that we can start. So first of all, good evening. I'm Ana Carolina. I'm an international career strategist, and today we're going to talk about this very important topic of why experienced professionals are not getting response on applications. So just hold on a second until everyone start joining. And if you see me here talking, please just send me a hello in the comments so then I know that I'm actually live. I'm just trying to connect here from my phone as well, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Let me see here. Okay, let's just wait until everyone pops in so then we can start, right? So then if you see me just looking to one side, so then you know that I'm actually double checking all the comments and see your interactions. All right. So hi Tyler, welcome. Here, good evening here in Europe. I presume it will be good afternoon for you there in America, right? Hi Natalie. Hello from Copenhagen. That's nice. Camila, hi from Portugal. Hey, hi from Spain. I'm actually based in Spain, guys. Based in Alicante. I don't know if you had the pleasure to visit this city. It's a lovely place. Yeah. Oh, Christina, you're from Spain as well. Hi. Anita, hello, dear, from Brazil. Hi, Brandon, Natalie. That's lovely. Thanks for confirming that you guys can hear me and also see me. That's lovely. Let me see. Okay, we have a good number here to start. That's great. So just give me a moment here. I'm just checking on my notes so then we can start. Because I had the pleasure to speak to many of you when I shared the live link. It was great. I appreciate all the conversations we had. So thank you guys for the openness because I really wanted to understand what was going on with you guys. So I had really good talks with a few of you guys because actually when we need to understand our problem, we need to find a solution. We need to start asking questions to understand better the scenario, right? So the good problem solvers here understand that, you know? That's great. So I can find my notes, just one second there. So yeah, it's all good when it happens on a live streaming, right? So everything happens in live streaming. So I'm just giving one moment and see. Yeah, I already have 31 people. That's nice. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So basically, okay. Hello from Dublin. Oh, nice. That's good. I lived in Dublin for 6 years. That was a unique experience there. Nice. Hello from Prague, Czech Republic. That's great, Katarina. Thanks. Welcome here. So basically, I'm gonna share a presentation. I always try to illustrate here to be clear with the message, right? So I hope you guys can see there. That's actually an issue, right? Because I've been speaking to many of you guys, not only this week, but throughout 2026 and even before. And I spent it a lot here on LinkedIn the last month. And it's been a pleasure to speak to so many professionals where they're just presenting the same issue. Everyone is complaining that you guys are getting stuck in the European job market. So there is something happening there. Some people are saying that it's been more difficult to pass on interviews or to get a response from recruiters, and we're not gonna talk about the cause of it because I already recorded lives talking about the issue, but I would like to talk about what is going on actually. when you don't get a response, when you don't get a call for an interview, when you don't pass on an interview. And that's the main issue here, right? Because there is the thing that you guys don't really know what's wrong. So you have no interviews. Or it could be the age. I have many of you guys saying to me that you were concerned that you were lacking on returns on applications because of your age. Language, not having the language required from the local market. There are lots of people talking to me who are currently living in Germany, complaining that, oh, I don't have the level of German enough to succeed on applications. Or even the ATS thing, because the applicant tracking system is this tool, this software that filter the CVs, and the CV itself could be a problem. Your visa situation, because some of you required a working visa to stay in the country, or applying for the wrong roles, or being too senior for the roles you're applying for, or struggling with applying on local positions, like in local markets, and not having enough local experience. So when you don't know what's wrong, it's quite normal to start looking, okay, looking over the problem. And I'll say here, like from the conversations I have with many of you guys start just explaining that it could be it. I think it's because of my CV. I think it's because of the language issue. I think it's because I'm not sure if I'm applying for the right positions. I'm not sure because I come from a different country and I don't have local experience. Actually, you cannot confirm. So why are you guys just analyzing your own situation and trying to find the problem? Because that's what happens when you say that you have a problem with your CV. What you're going to do, you're going to update your CV. And I'm pretty sure that many of you already updated your CV when you thought about the problem was the CV, and then nothing changed. And then you thought, maybe it could be the LinkedIn because I don't have responses from recruiters on LinkedIn. So then you update your LinkedIn and nothing happens. So then you think, oh, maybe it could be the market. If you work on automotive market and you say, okay, this is not the best moment for this market, maybe I should try a different market. No response. And maybe if I remove the information that I required a visa, and nothing changed. So you see that the thing here is that, first of all, you guys should stop guessing what's going on with your CV, because any of you, each of you, better saying, has a specific situation with a specific experience and focusing on a specific market. We know that we're going through some geopolitical and economic situations across the globe, not only talking about Europe, but it's not it. Companies are still working, still solving problems, still needing to hire people. People quit jobs every single day. They need to replace these gaps as soon as possible. Companies are expanding in different areas. They need to hire new leaders, they need to hire new specialists every single day. So I don't want anyone here thinking that about the problems. Why not thinking about the possible solutions and trying to find the correct solution for your case? And that's where I want to start. From all the conversations I have with all of you guys, I found 4 different situations And I would like to each of you to get connected with this and identify yourselves. So I have the first one here, before the market, because I'm talking to people who hasn't really started applying for positions because they're feeling insecure about how the market's going to react or not so sure about what positions they should be applying for. I have people here unhappy with their career choices and they would like to apply for new careers and are not so sure whether they should apply to something similar or go towards something new. I have professionals here with 15 years of experience in a specific area, just trying to go for a change. And before I start applying for positions, it is important to step away from the intents of applications and just step away from the uncertainty, the fear, and focus on direction. So this is something so important. Has any of you here that could really connect with the option number one? I would like you guys to add in the comments and put a number one so that I know that you guys belong to the situation number one. Let me see what you guys are going to put here in the comments. Is there anyone connecting with the situation number one? Let me know here. The comments. Just waiting here for the No one connecting with the number one? Okay. So let's talk about the second one. Let's talk about the applications. So then we have the professionals who are applying. Is there any of you already applying, having no responses, just at a number two on the comments, and then I know that I'm talking to you guys? Because here, 20 applications a week, 50, hundreds over a year. I had someone here who said to me that was applying for over 400 positions in the last 4 months. It's an average of 100 applications per month without any type of response, just silence. So this is where frustration becomes dangerous because many people immediately jump to my CV doesn't work. Maybe, but not necessarily. And if you're applying across 5 different functions, the issue may be targeting. Someone here told me they were quite confident that applying for 3 different roles would be very important because it would show all the career background. Are you sure that's going to work? We're in 2016. The market used to look at just to consider your experience around 20 years ago. The market updated, so they're no longer focusing on your experience. They want to know what you're going to do with your experience and your certificates. So if you're transferring experience between countries, it may involve transferability or perceived seniority. And what I'm trying to say here is that when we're talking about transferability, you need to understand that the name of your function, all the responsibilities, tasks, and problems you solved may be organized in a complete different way in a different country. I'll give a quick example here. Once, a while ago, a good while ago, I think over 2 years ago, I had a Brazilian client. She lives in Ireland. And she said to me that she had an administrative experience more connected to the finance area. And she had like around 7, 9 years of experience in the area. And she found herself pretty generic because she used to do a lot for the old employer where she was working in Brazil. And she couldn't really identify herself. And so she was applying for accounting roles that were way below her level because she thought that she didn't have experience enough because she was coming from another country. And then when I did the diagnosis, I double check her career background, all the results that she achieved, all the level of experience that she had. So that I found out that she actually had way more experience than she thought. And there was a complete different name for the position. So she had controlling position. So she had a seniority level compared to a controller, and she didn't know. It happens a lot. So from the moment we corrected her positioning, in 3 weeks she received a job offer because she was applying to incorrect roles. And I see that happening all the time. So if you're targeting roles requiring sponsorship, market reality may be involved. And I have to be very honest, it's not the best moment if you need a working visa here in Europe. Yeah, because they tend to be more, how can I say, limited the when it comes to approving working visas when they are applying, when they're just submitting applications for working visa. Uh, it's not the same scenario compared to a couple of years ago. It is a current situation that we're going through, but I'm not a specialist to talk in detail about this. But I would say there are options. So you should pay attention in the type of companies you're applying for. That's the hint I give here to you. So don't focus on the market. Don't apply generically, right? This is something that you should pay attention because there are companies they already have. They're already used to handling. It's a HR task handling with the working visa situation from their from from their staff. So really pay attention on this because you need a better strategy. I'm pretty sure I'm saying this to you because it will be possible to go around the situation. I'm pretty sure, but you need to become more strategic. And if you're applying for remote only positions, you change the size and geography of your market. Yeah, it's true. Because when it comes to remote roles, it's more specific. You need to be more specific on the type of roles you're gonna go for because they need to be available on the remote market. And then you need to understand the geography around it, on your situation. If you have residency in Europe, if you're applying for a remote position, that would require your presence in the country or not. So there's these things. Because if you focus on the remote first, it would be something different, but then it could be more advantageous, but you will need to become a self-employed and issue invoices. So there are some implications as well. So you need to think, and then if it's worth for you, so then you should position yourself, right? And and I would say that communication through your CV and LinkedIn may also be part of it. Maybe your narrative is incorrect. Maybe the way you're talking about yourself is incorrect. But it's a very individual situation, right? So let me see what you guys are saying here. Wow, that's a lot of you guys. Now I'm checking the comments. Wow. So I can see here that, yeah, someone commented that Anna and Natalie, yeah, about number one. So I have people here mention about, oh, you're already talking about three and four. Yeah, yeah, no, wait a moment there. Just tap on the brake for a moment. Yeah. So I have some dominant profiles here already thinking ahead. That's nice. Yeah. So I have here most of you, lots of you guys. Number two, Camila, Brandon, Marmik, Florencia. Yeah, that's great. Lots of you guys. So you have a lot, guys, to think. So connect. I give here examples. Connect with your situation. Right? And then an interview, because imagine here other type of professional that is already getting interviews, but repeatedly like stop at the recruiter screening or after the hiring manager call. So that's a completely different scenario, right? Because rewriting the CV again may do absolutely nothing to solve what is happening inside those conversations. And I'll give you an example here. Once I had a client show, so she ended up successfully being hired in her area, but she got in touch with me because she was having this issue where she was getting interviews, but she was not passing in any. So she came from another country. She lives in Spain. She used to live in Brazil. She's Brazilian, just like me. And she's a senior professional, many years of experience in her area. And she didn't really know how to talk about herself in interviews. She was coming from a different market. The way you do interviews in Brazil, it's way different compared to in Europe. So she learned how to talk about herself. She didn't know how to talk about herself. She was focusing on tasks and she was more towards a strategic level. So then we need to change the way she was answering questions. Just to give a hint, you guys need to start answering questions thinking of what they want to hear from you and not what you want to say, right? So this is quite, this just the basic idea here for you guys. And I would say that after a month we worked together, she received a job offer. It was a matter of knowing how to talk about herself and doing a strategic search and go after the compatible opportunities because she understood that she didn't know how to talk about herself. But there was another problem as well. The opportunities she was attracting, they were not compatible to the quality, to the level of delivery she could offer. So it's quite common. So then you receive a feedback like they chose someone with more experience. That happens when you have like a seniority level and you don't express that in a correct way. Or when you don't know how to express your level of expertise, the level of problems you solve in a way they expect in an interview, that really means that you're too junior from their point of view. But if you show off a lot about yourself and what you can deliver to a position that you think like, of course I can do that, but it's a junior level, it's not a senior level. So then you end up being too senior for the position. So that happens a lot in this type of situation. So let me see, do I have many three? Oh, I see here. Mianda. Who else connects to the number 3? Cindy, Alvaro, Christina, Siamak. I hope I just said your name correctly. Irene. So they're good number 3 here, guys. So you're already doing interviews. There's just a positioning issue to correct, and that's quite simple to correct. And the final round, because the final round here is when you have like some of you guys, if you guys connect to the number 4, let me know. When you get interviews, you progress on interview stages. And then you reach the final round and then finally don't get the offer. That's frustrating, right? So frustrating. So you shouldn't, this type of person, if some of you guys are connected to the number 4, so you should not automatically interpret the situation the same way as someone who sent 200 applications and received 2 interviews. So if you're already on the final stages, you're doing interviews, that's something else. It could be something that will be more connected to your level of compatibility with the role. Maybe it is understood that you're a great professional, but for the future of the company, the investment wouldn't be worth. We need to be clear here because hiring is an investment. And the hiring manager, the decision maker, is analyzing the return or the possible return on this investment. So if you reach the final stages, it's an excellent step. It's just a matter of thinking better about the applications you go through, you submit your CV, or even thinking better about the offers you received on LinkedIn from recruiters. You may be accepting things that is not really aligned to the level of expertise you've got. So alignment is that it requires a deep conversation. And I see great misalignment happening in the market, like compared to companies and candidates, and it's a pity. Let me see here. Okay, Natalie connected to the number 4. Yes. So guys, so you see there are many different signals. So it's a matter of connecting and understanding there. Understanding them, understand where you're at. Because there are different ways to solve them. Yeah, because once we know where the process is breaking, then we can start investigating why. And these are 4 very different families of questions. So then you think, like, is the direction coherent? Because from the number 1 ones, you need to think about where you're going. Because if you don't know what position you should be applying for in this new market, in the new reality, you need to understand first where you're going. What is your professional objective for short, medium, long term? Is there actually sufficient demand for the profile in the geography where you're targeting? Because some people, they tell me what they really want to work with remotely, but then I just go and double check, is this really a good idea? Because it could have other similar positionings that will have like a lot more demand. Because many of you may be trying to apply for positions and say, but I can't even apply for 15 2 months because I can't find them. That could happen quite a lot. Because depending on application, active application on job boards is a trap. You guys need urgently start doing networking, strategic networking. This is something I talk all the time. So our work rights or language materially reducing the available market. So then you guys need to start thinking about the strategy you're using, the type of market and companies you guys are focusing on. Once I had a client, she said to me that she didn't speak French and German, so she does speak other languages. She speaks English fluently, Portuguese, even Chinese. But all the companies, they were requiring her to speak French and German. And I said, but you need to observe the type of market you're focusing, because depending on the multinationals, if they have their headquarters in France or Germany, and they require you with to have frequent travels or frequent contact with stakeholders in the headquarters, they may require you to speak their language. So it's just a matter of thinking about the type of opportunities you're aiming, right? So does the market understand your seniority and transferable skills? You need to know to communicate with a proper narrative. Because if you're doing a career transition, you're not going just to show your CV with a bunch of information there, generic information about your background without connecting to your new path. You need to show that you already have experience. Some people say, but I don't have experience in that path. And you already have it. You have transferable skills. You need to name these skills. That's the reason preparation is so important. And is this strategy relying almost entirely on advertise vacancies? That's what I said here before. You guys should stop focusing so much on active applications on job boards. You guys are spending hours on LinkedIn, hours on Indeed, Glassdoor, or any other website. We work remotely. Remote. There are lots of job boards I can mention here. You guys are just spending hours there, and you need to know how to use these applications in your favor. You need to become more strategic and not depend only on that. Yeah. One professional told me something particularly interesting this week. Applications were producing almost nothing, but when the CV reached a hiring manager directly because she had a referral, who could send the CV by email, a screening call happened. So that doesn't diagnose the problem. It's a very interesting signal. Do you guys understand what I mean? So this it couldn't be the same problem to everybody. Everyone will say, okay, this could be happening to me. But there are many of you who are sending a CV to a referral directly to a hiring manager and not getting a response as well. See, there is a difference. It's all about positioning the narrative, right? So, and this is where I see experienced professionals wasting enormous amount of energy. They start here on execution. You see the very bottom, the very end on execution. That's where I see you guys focusing. LinkedIn, CV, networking, interviews, and this is not where you should start. But execute amplifies whatever comes before it. If your direction is unclear, executing harder can simply make you move faster in several directions. If your positioning is unclear, applying to more job exposes unclear positioning to more employers. And if your target market, if your target, sorry, 1 second. And if your target market is structurally incompatible with one of your constraints, a prettier CV doesn't change the market. So, more activity does not necessarily mean better strategy. And the opposite is also true. Sometimes the strategy is reasonable, but you're simply not creating enough opportunities. So that's why activity matters, but only when we understand what activity actually makes sense. Does that make sense what I'm saying here to you guys? Let me see here on the comments. If you are rejected after interviews, do recruiters review feedback from past interviews? If checking from next role you applied and tend to reject you for other applications too, even if your profile matches? Well, that's a very specific case. I would say that if it's not the first interview you do with a very same recruiter on a very same company, and they have a recording of your past interview there somehow, they may check it. I will say, if they have access to it, if it's the very same staff looking after your older application, that could happen. But imagine that 3 years ago, You went through rounds of interviews and you didn't pass, and then they had like a data cleans, and then they changed the staff, and the staff was promoted to another area, and there is someone just looking after your new application, they wouldn't know. It really depends, right? Okay, let me see where I stopped there. Okay, yeah. And something very important here, guys, when I talk about positioning, positioning is not a LinkedIn headline, right? Because you guys need to start thinking about professional identity. Who are you? What do you bring? How do you help organizations solve complex problems? With a strategic direction, or where do you fit? From whom? At what level? This is positioning. And from the moment you position yourself, you need to make a choice. So you're not abandoning your career, you're not leaving your background behind, your 20 years of work delivery behind. No. All those 20 years of experience prepared you to become who you are right now. So then you're thankful for that. And then you choose your next step and you look ahead, right? And if someone has experience across, I'm going to give you here one example, right? To a specific area. So then you have customer success, account management, and say yes. And now you're considering customer onboarding or sales enablement, or even go to marketing. The first question here isn't what keywords should we put on LinkedIn. The first question is actually which direction actually makes sense for this person, their strength, their experience, their desired lifestyle, and the market they want to access. So once there is a clear CV, LinkedIn network, and an interview becomes vehicle for the strategy. They're not the strategy itself. All right. Yeah. So before we end here, I would just like to mention something quite important, because some of you may be thinking, okay, Anna, so which one of these is my problem? And this is where I need to be responsible with you. So you guys notice that it's impossible here from my life to tell you this is your problem and this is how you're going to solve it. Because you see, there are many different type of situations involved here. And I wouldn't tell you that your problem is your CV, positioning, visa, age, interview skills, or anything else without understanding your situation properly. Because that would be exactly the kind of guessing I spent the last 25 minutes telling you not to do. 30 minutes, actually. I'm 10 minutes late here. So, tonight, just to explain you here, guys, yeah, it's high time stop guessing what needs to change. Yeah. So tonight, help you if if I helped you realize that you can see what's happening in your job search, but you're still not certain why it's happening, and solving this is generally a priority for you, I've created a way for us to take the next step. I'm going to share a link to my career strategic assessment. This isn't a booking link for a sales call. Okay, guys, I'm gonna be very honest to you guys, right? So I will ask you about your current situation, because this is an application, right? So I'll ask you about your current situation, what you're targeting, what you already tried, how the market has been responding, and what you want to achieve, and how ready you are to work on this. I personally review the answers. And after reviewing your situation, I believe there is a genuine strategic gap I can help you address. I will come back to you with the next step I recommended. And if you don't believe my work is the right solution for your situation, I won't try to sell you something you don't need. Don't worry about that. Okay? But my private work is particularly suited to professionals who are ready to make this a real priority and not simply collect more information. So please don't feel you need to apply just because you attended tonight, right? But if you've been trying, you're not getting the response you expected, you don't know what needs to change, and you're ready to approach this strategically, then I would genuinely like to understand your situation. So I'll leave the assessment link here for you guys. Just 1 second. I'm copying here the link. Okay, I'm gonna drop in the comments here right below, okay, in the event, because here I'm on my phone and I have the link here on my laptop. All right. So then you're going to see on my profile as well. It's just a tally form you're going to fill out. All right. But yes, feel free to do it if it's a priority for you and if you really want to see the opportunity of working with me and finding a solution to your specific case. Right? So, guys, if you have any questions regarding everything I explained here, feel free to drop a comment. I'll do my best to answer everyone, but I do remember that it's impossible to analyze on a comment a very specific situation. All right. Let me see, there's a very last comment here. General consensus on LinkedIn is what most people are making generic resumes and not positioned properly, but everyday hiring is still happening. And someone from these people are itself getting hired. Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you, Tyler. Okay, see, Tyler is open to network, so that if you guys want to connect him, just reach him out, right? And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna close the live and I'm going to share the link for the applications if you really guys want to fill out. All right. So have a great end of the week. Oh, today's Tuesday, right? I'm used to do it on Thursday. So have a great week, guys. And I see you next time. Bye.